I've had an idea for a while now to take ugly or scary animals and convert them into D&D monsters. So I figured why not start with the world's ugliest dog. I looked a little bit into this competition. It's held every year in California. And I found one dog, it's actually from last year, from 2023, who won the award and was particularly inspired by this dog named Scooter. He is a Chinese crested dog, and his hind legs have a deformity where they're reversed backwards. And he has these just like stringy tufts of hair, and his tongue is hanging out the side of his mouth. And his body is basically hairless, kind of looks like a little miniature hippopotamus gremlin dog. So I'm going to use him as my inspiration and make a D&D 5e monster stat block based on this creature, based on this dog. I'm not literally trying to convert him into a D&D creature. That wouldn't make for a great monster because it'd just be this poor little dog. So I'm making a monster that's inspired by Scooter here, and inspiration can do interesting and strange things. For the creature type, I think I want to go with monstrosity. I could see beast, but I want something a little more supernatural, a little more magical, something that's a bit stranger than just a regular animal. I could also see a fae of some kind, but I'm feeling monstrosity a bit more on this one. He's quite a little dog. In D&D terms, he'd be tiny size, but I'd like to bump that up a bit, so I'll go with small for the size category. Just looking at his appearance, he's undoubtedly chaotic neutral. He looks disheveled and his body is disordered and, you know, has like the turned around backward legs, but he doesn't actually look evil or malevolent. Of course, a creature that appears to be good or that seems attractive can be an evil creature, but I'm just going off of the, you know, the vibe I get looking at his photos. When I create monsters, I like thinking about the challenge rating early on. In this case, I want to go with something fairly low. So just for comparison here, a goblin is a CR 1/4, an orc is a 1/2, a brown bear is a CR 1, ogre is CR 2. I think I'm going to shoot for around CR 1/2. He seems fairly weak physically, but maybe he has some kind of special ability that can affect the characters in a strange way or a startling way. I'm thinking about those reversed hind legs. D&D doesn't usually use facing rules, like where a creature is facing during combat. Some people do that when they're using like traditional miniatures in person, but it's pretty rare. Like, it's just another thing that you have to keep track of, and it can kind of get you into weird, complicated situations and arguments. There are some exceptions though, like in 5e and previous editions as well, the beholder, you want to keep track of where the beholder is facing because it has that cone of anti-magic coming out of its central eye. But in that case, the cone of anti-magic is a payoff for having to keep track of the facing, you know, for that little extra layer of complexity. So instead of having to fiddle around with facing, I think I'd rather just have this creature, you know, affect the characters in some way that messes with their movement or with their mobility. Maybe it can innately cast the confusion spell. I'm liking that. That can really capture the craziness of this monster. Plus, it can cause the characters to move in random directions and make random attacks. It kind of captures the chaotic nature of this creature. But what would be this thing's innate spellcasting ability? Actually, why don't I figure out its ability scores now? It seems like it'd be kind of low on everything. It seems like a very flawed, kind of misbegotten monster. Maybe its strength and constitution are slightly above average. It has to have something, right? I'm going to give it all odd numbers for its ability scores because it's such an odd creature. Now that I think about it some more, I think instead of an innate spell, its confusion is just going to be like a magical feature that it has. It's going to have a similar effect to the spell. So I think that feels a little bit more fitting. Plus, I think it'll just play out better that way in an encounter rather than this thing innately casting spells. For its speed, maybe it's a little below average on its speed due to the strange leg arrangement. I'm still debating, do I really want this creature to have the backwards hind legs? I think so. I think I have to do it in order to really, you know, draw upon the inspiration from Scooter. AC maybe will be a little under par, doesn't really have thick hide or any kind of like natural, you know, carapace or something. Really, this thing is just, this monster's all messed up. But if his confusion takes hold, it can really scramble the minds of the characters, and you know, maybe its bite can be, you know, a little bit threatening. I'm gonna go with 5 hit dice. That'll bring it to a total of 22 hit points. I think the bite will just be a sort of standard bite. It'll be a +3 to hit, and let's go with 2d4 + 1 piercing damage. And I want something with that tongue as well. He's got that really prominent, strange tongue. So let's also give this monster a lick. +3 to hit. It doesn't do damage, but the creature that it licks will have disadvantage on the next saving throw it makes before the end of this monster's next turn. This could be cool if there are multiple of these little strange creatures together, because one could lick a character and then that character will have disadvantage on the confusion gaze or the confusion howl. I think a confusing howl, let's say maddening yowl. And so we'll make this once per day, once per long rest, and the creature will emit this yowl. We'll say it's a magical yowl that, like confusion, you know, it kind of twists the minds of those that can hear it and will provoke them to uncontrollable actions. Each creature within 30 feet of the monster that can hear it must make a DC 11 wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is confused for 1 minute, and there are ongoing saves. So at the end of each of an affected creature's turns, it repeats the save and frees itself on a success. We'll say that this monster, and like others of its kind, are unaffected by the maddening yowl, and then an affected creature is affected basically like the confusion spell. Can't take reactions, rolls a d10 at the start of each of its turns to determine its behavior. 1 through 5, the creature moves in a random direction, does nothing else. 6 through 7, the creature babbles incoherently and does nothing else. 8 through 9, the creature uses its action to make a melee attack against a randomly determined creature within its reach. And on a 10, the creature can act normally on that turn. So that should be good there. This isn't supposed to be a very complex creature, and overall it's very flawed and weak. What should its name be? The first thing that comes into my mind is Ragamuffin, but Ragamuffin is already the name for a cat breed, and also Ragamuffin can sound kind of cute. I want this thing to be a little bit weirder and freakier. The words mongrel and cur also come to mind. I think I'm going to go with Mad Cur. So here's how it's shaping up. I'm going to write some lore for it and do, you know, a little bit of development in terms of, you know, what's the story behind this thing or what's its place in an adventure. I'm going to put it into my upcoming newsletter, the November 2024 issue of Scrolls of the Bard. If you're not signed up for that yet, just follow the link down below. It's a free sign up for my monthly newsletter. Or better yet, go check out my Patreon page. There you can be a supporter of the channel and support all these crazy adventurous endeavors of mine. You'll get access to an expanded version of the newsletter that has more content, more monsters in it. There's a monthly selection that I do, and the selected patrons get to choose between really cool exclusive rewards. There's an expanded RPG map every month. And on this note, I do want to give a shout out to my top supporters on Patreon: Lucas Mesmo, Adam Wood, Nick Thy Pirate King, Jed Primont, Locke, Nicholas A, Technicolor Shale, Robert Brescini, Ben R, Tilwrench, and Tornado. Thanks guys, I appreciate you very much. And everybody, I will see you in the next video sometime soon. Until we meet again, my brave companions, may your adventures be many.